name is Laurie Johnson, and I've been working here at Hofstra University for 20 years now. This September is 20 years. I teach in the CRSR department and direct the graduate programs in counseling at Hofstra. I decided to go into counseling education after many years working in the field as a counselor. The beginning part of my own career, I was in school counseling after finishing up my initial master's degree in counseling, and then went on to serve as a counselor with juvenile offenders, which was a very interesting and rewarding part of my career. I then moved on to mental health counseling in a university setting, and in that role serviced many different populations across a campus student community. I worked then here in 1989, started to come here because I was intrigued by the position offering of being able to teach others and train others in their professional preparation to be a counselor after all the years of practice that I had benefited from myself. The trends in counseling are expanding. The opportunities in many ways are expanding because the needs for counseling and counselors are expanding. The economy obviously has impacted the job opportunities in this given moment in time, but all indications are that over the long run the field will continue to expand and opportunities for people pursuing professional credentialing and counseling will be open. I wish I could say there was no need for counselors, but there are. The numbers of young people requiring support and assistance and guidance, as well as young adults, and certainly all through the lifespan, there's increasing need for that support, and so counselors will in fact be a large part, I think, of the human services arena for the next several decades. For someone looking to enter the field of counseling, I really would encourage a lot of exploration and relevant experience on their part. What do I mean by that? If it's a young college student who is taking perhaps psychology courses and thinks he or she would like to work with other people in helping them resolve issues in their lives, that person would be wise to go out and do volunteer work in human services, perhaps take part-time jobs that might be open to them, do internships where they're exposed to different areas and positions in which counseling and counseling services are provided. So a good, strong background in psychology and the behavioral sciences as far as coursework, and then relevant experience at the undergraduate level or postgraduate level if someone's coming into the field later on in life. I think that there is a way of being that really defines counseling. People really need to want to help people. If one doesn't have that basic personality characteristic and goal in terms of their own sense of self, moving into counseling won't be successful for them, because it's more than just learning a knowledge base and even skill. It's a way of being. There's a constant and consistent need for counselors in our society. There are different specializations in counseling, and that's an important piece of how to describe job opportunities. For example, there are people who pursue counseling credentialing in school. So school counseling is a person typically has in the past been called guidance counselor in the school situation. Those positions are always there. They are consistent in terms of every school needs to be able to employ school counselors to service children and students in the school. But in bad economic times, of course, those opportunities will be more limited. Right now we're going through an economic downturn, and indeed we're seeing fewer jobs opening up in the school community. Mental health counseling is another area of specialization, and mental health counselors tend to work in hospital facilities, community counseling agencies, human resource and human service facilities in the community. And again, those needs are there consistently, but when economic downturns occur, budgets and hiring tend to be restricted. In times of particular need in society, where there is some form of disaster or occurrence that really has affected many, many people at one time, of course, there's always this call for additional support. One of the nice things about the counseling profession is that there is a network nationwide that is very much in tune to addressing any kind of societal need that occurs, so that Katrina and 9/11, some of the forest fires out on the West Coast, there's a network of counselors who are called upon then to see if they can respond. So there's there's a pattern of giving of oneself as a counselor that goes beyond their own individual day-to-day job, but contributes across the board. Many times people will ask me, given the downturn in terms of employment in school counseling, whether or not there's going to be a continued need. And of course the answer I offer, as I've said, is that yes, indeed, there'll always be a need for school counselors, but the trend in the future is one in which the school counselor is going to be working more and more collaboratively with the teaching faculty and the parent community in schools. That the old days when a school counselor worked one-on-one with students, those days are changing. And school counselors now, because there are only a handful of them in a school building, will be working more and more collaboratively and more with group and teamwork. And I think that's the real trend. And in our training programs here at Hofstra, this is something we emphasize, that you need to be able to work well in a team so that you are able to participate in the entire educational enterprise, not simply sit in a room somewhere and only wait for students to come with problems to you. Graduates of counselor education programs come away with more than the simple credential and paper degree that enables them to pursue counseling jobs. They are really skilled in communication. It's one of our primary training goals, is to promote a sense of skill in listening, attending, and communicating with the other. This is the basis of good counseling. There is also a heavy emphasis on problem-solving ability and skill. Of course, that's what a counselor does, tries to support others in their own problem solving. And so these two basic but very fundamental and very important skill sets are those that the typical counselor ed graduate walks away with. And so any professional area or job employment opportunity that would require really strong communication skills and problem-solving ability, certainly the counselor could qualify for, all other things being addressed. There are so many things that I could speak about in terms of the rewards that have come to me in my career. I've been in the field for 30 years, and I think each year I can honestly say has been a gratifying one for me. And the opportunities to come into people's lives, I always feel like counseling is a sacred profession, in that people are allowing you to enter into their private personal space. And so just that itself is very rewarding and gratifying. But in my own career, as I look back on it, one of the primary areas of great satisfaction I've had has been the work that I've done in grieving, loss, and bereavement. I'm a specialist in grief counseling, and also work as a disaster mental health services professional for the Red Cross. And so I've been able to take my training and apply it to disaster and trauma situations. And I think that that experience has always kept me very much aware of how much the human individual really needs support from others. And so I think, to me, that's one of my more recent, in the last 10 years, I would say, the rewards. And of course, overall, the work that I do here at Hofstra, where I've had the benefit of becoming a part of so many hundreds of students' lives, and those students continue to maintain a relationship with me and with the program years after graduating, inviting me to weddings and children's birthdays and all such. Really is rewarding for me. So it's been a very, very good career. I intend to stay in it for a long time beyond this, but as I look back on it, I can't think of a better profession for me to have entered and to be full in.